So the title of the chapter is The Vedic Culture, lesson number 3, learning objectives. What are the learning objectives of this particular chapter? Students will acquire knowledge. A very warm welcome to all of you in my channel. I'm going to read the NCERT for you, Tamil Nadu Board History book first, and then the further NCERT so that you can revise it whenever you want it. I've already completed chapter number 1, chapter number 2. This is going to be the chapter number 3. So feel free to watch YouTube channel, the playlist section. If you are a competitive exam student and you want to improve your English, then also I'm here for you. I've already started spoken English series. You can watch that. All right, let's get started. Make sure that you have this book with you and you are reading parallelly. I mean, you're looking into your book and you're listening to me. All right. So the title of the chapter is The Vedic Culture, lesson number 3, learning objectives. What are the learning objectives of this particular chapter? Students will acquire knowledge about the original home of the Aryans, the Vedic literature and their importance, the Rig Vedic age and its culture, the later Vedic age and its culture. Original home of the Aryans, then Vedic literature, after Vedic literature, Rig Vedic age or early Vedic period, that is 1500 to 1000 BC. Original home of the Aryans, then Vedic. Then we will read about political organization, then social life. After social life, we have economic condition. Economic condition के बाद religion. After religion, later Vedic period, 1000 to 600 BC. And then political organization. We have economic condition, and then social life, and then we have religion. And this chapter is going to end. At the end, you are going to learn Vedic literature such as 4 Vedas and the Brahmins and other later Vedic literature, the Rig Vedic polity, society, and economy, the religious life of the Rig Vedic people, and the changes during the later Vedic period in the sphere of polity and society. And last, the increasing rites and rituals in the religious life of the later Vedic people. All right. This is the topic that we have to cover in this chapter. All right. The cities of Harappan culture had declined by 1500 BC. Consequently, their economic and administrative system had slowly declined. Around this period, the speakers of Indo-Aryan language, Sanskrit, entered the northwest India from the Indo-Iranian region. Initially, they would have come in small numbers through the passes in northwestern mountains. Their initial settlements were in the valleys of northwest and the plains of Punjab. Later, they moved into Indo-Gangetic plains. As they were mainly a cattle-keeping people, they were mainly in search of pastures. By 6th century BC, they occupied the whole of North India, which was referred to as Aryavarta. This period between 1500 BC and 600 BC may be divided into the early Vedic period or Rig Vedic period, 1500 BC to 1000 BC, and the later Vedic period, 1000 BC and to 600 BC. Original home of the Aryans. The original home of the Aryans is a debatable question, and there are several views. Different scholars have identified different reasons as the original home of the Aryans. They include the Arctic region, Germany, Central Asia, Southern Russia. Bala Gangadhar Tilak argues that the Aryans come from the Arctic region. Bala Gangadhar Tilak argues that Aryans come from where? Arctic region on astronomical calculations. However, the theory of Southern Russia appears to be more probable and widely accepted by historians. From there, the Aryans moved to different parts of Asia and Europe. They entered India in about 1500 BC and came back to be known as Indo-Aryans. They spoke the Indo-Aryan language, Sanskrit. Vedic literature. The word Veda is derived from the root vid, 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 which means to know. In other words, the term Veda signifies superior knowledge. Vid, to know, Veda, superior knowledge. Vedic literature consists of 4 Vedas, Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sam Veda, Yathar Veda. The Rig Veda is earliest of the 4 Vedas. It consists of 1028 hymns. The hymns were sung in praise of various gods. Yajur Veda consists of various details of rules to be observed at the time of sacrifice. The Sam Veda is to set to tune for the purpose of chanting during sacrifice. It is called the Book of Chants, and the origin of Indian music are traced in it. Sam Veda. The Atharva Veda contains details of rituals. Besides the Vedas, there are other sacred works like the Brahmanas, Upanishads, Arankas, and the epics Ramayana and Mahabharata. The Brahmanas are the treatises relating to prayer and sacrificial ceremony. The Upanishads are philosophical texts dealing with topics like the soul, absolute, origin of the world, and the mysteries of nature. The Aranyakas are called forest books, and they deal with mysticism, rites, rituals, sacrifices. The author of Ramayana was Valmiki, and that of the Mahabharata, Vedvyas. Ramayana's author, Valmiki, and Mahabharata's author, Vedvyas. Rig Vedic age or early Vedic age period, 1500 to 1000 BC. During Rig Vedic period, the Aryans were mostly confined to the Indus region. Rig Veda refers to Sapta Sindhu of the land. of 7 rivers, Sub-Sindhu, land of 7 rivers. This includes the 5 rivers of Punjab, namely 5 rivers of Punjab were Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Byas, Satluj, along with the Indus and Saraswati. So total 7 rivers, in which 5 includes rivers of Punjab, that is Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Byas, and Satluj, and 2 more are Indus and Saraswati. The political, social, and cultural life of Rigvedic people can be traced from hymns of Rigveda. Political organization. The basic unit of political organization was Kula or family. Kul or family. Several families joined together on the basis of their kinship to form a village or gram. The leader of gram was known as Gramini. A group of villages constituted a larger unit known as Visu. Gramini was leader of grama. Visu was group of villages constituted a larger unit. It was headed by Vishwavati. The highest political unit was called Jana or tribe. Jan or tribe was the highest political unit. There were several tribal kingdoms during Rigvedic period, such as Bharatas, Matsyas, Yadus, Purus. The head of kingdom was called Rajan or king. The Rigvedic polity was normally monarchical and succession was hereditary. The king was assisted by Purohit or priest and Senani or commander of the army in his administration. There were 2 popular bodies called Sabha and Samiti. The former seems to have been a council of elders and the latter a general assembly of the entire people. Social life. Rigvedic society was patriarchal. The basic unit of society was family or graham. The head of the family was known as Grahapati. Monogamy was generally practiced while polygamy was prevalent among the royal and noble families. The wife took care of the household and participated in all major ceremonies. Women were given equal opportunities as men for their spiritual and intellectual development. There were women poets like Apala, Vishwavara, Ghosha, Lokmudra during the Rigvedic period. Women could even attend the popular assemblies. There was no child marriage and practice of sati was absent. All right. Both men and women wore upper and lower garments made of cotton and wool. A variety of ornaments were used by both men and women. Wheat and barley, milk and its products like curd and ghee, vegetables and fruits were the chief articles of food. The eating of cow's meat was prohibited since it was a sacred animal. Chariot racing, horse racing, dicing, music, and dance were the favorite pastimes. The social divisions were not rigid during the Rigvedic period as it was in the later Vedic period. Economic condition. The Rigvedic Aryans were pastoral people and their main occupation was cattle rearing. Their wealth was estimated in terms of their cattle. When they permanently settled in North India, they began to practice agriculture. With the knowledge and use of iron, they were able to clean forests and bring more lands under cultivation. Carpentry was another important profession, and the availability of wood from forests cleared made of profession profitable. Carpenters produced chariots and plows. Workers in metal made a variety of articles with copper. Bronze and iron spinning was another important occupation, and cotton and woolen fabric were made. Goldsmiths were active in making ornaments. The potters made various kinds of vessels for domestic use. Trade was another important economic activity, and rivers served as important means of transport. Trade was conducted on barter system. In the later times, gold coins called nishka were used as media of exchange in large transactions. Nishka. Religion. The Rigvedic Aryans worshipped the natural forces like earth, fire, wind, rain, and thunder. They personified these natural forces into many gods and worshipped them. Important Rigvedic gods were Prithvi, earth, Agni, fire, Vayu, wind, Varuna, rain, Indra, thunder. Indra was the most popular among them during the early Vedic period. Next importance to Indra was Agni, who was regarded as an intermediary between the gods and people. Varuna was supposed to be the upholder of the natural order. There were also female gods like Aditi and Ushas. There were no temples, no idol worship during the early Vedic period. Prayers were offered to the gods in the expectation of rewards. Ghee, milk, and grain were given as offerings. Elaborate rituals were followed during the worship. Later Vedic period, 1000 to 600 BC, the Aryans further moved towards the east in the later Vedic period. The Satpatha Brahmana refers to the expansion of the Aryan to the eastern Gangetic plains. Several tribal groups and kingdoms are mentioned in later Vedic literature. One important development during this period is the growth of large kingdoms. Kuru and Panchala kingdoms flourished in the beginning. Parikshat and Janmejaya were the famous rulers of Kuru kingdom. Parikshat and Janmejaya were the famous rulers of Kuru kingdom. Pravana Jaivali was a popular king of Panchalas. He was a patron of learning. After the fall of Kurus and Panchalas, other kingdoms like Kosala, Kasi, Videha came into prominence. The famous ruler of Kasi was Ajatasattu. Janaka was the king of Videha, with its capital at Mithila. His court was adorned by scholar Yajnavalkya. Magadha, Anga, and Vanga seem to be the easternmost tribal kingdom. The later Vedic text also refers to 3 divisions of India: First one is Aryavarta, Northern India, Madhya Desa, Central India, Dakshinpat, Southern India. Political organization. Larger kingdoms were formed during the later Vedic period. Many jana or tribes were amalgamated to form janpads or rastras in later Vedic period. Hence, the royal power had increased along with the increase in the size of kingdom. The king performed various rituals and sacrifices to strengthen his position. They include Rajasuya, consecration ceremony, Aswamedha, horse sacrifice, Vajpayee, chariot race. The king also assumed titles like Raj Vishwajanan, Ahila Bhuvanapati, Lord of all earth, Ekrat or Samrat, sole ruler. In the later Vedic period, a large number of new officials were involved in the administration in addition to the existing Purohit, Senani, and Gramani. They include the treasury officer, tax collector, and royal messenger. At the lower levels, the administration was carried on by the village assemblies. The importance of Samiti and Sabha has diminished during the later Vedic period. Economic condition. Iron was used extensively in this period, and this enabled the people to clear forests and to bring more land under cultivation. Agriculture became the chief occupation. Improved types of implements were used for cultivation. Besides barley, rice, and wheat were grown. Knowledge of mature was another improvement. Industry activity became more varied, and there was a greater specialization. Metal work, leather work, carpentry, and pottery made great progress. In addition to internal trade, foreign trade became extensive. The later Vedic period were familiar with the sea and they traded with countries like Babylon. A class of hereditary merchants, Vanya, came into existence. Vaishyas also carried on trade and commerce. They organized themselves into guilds known as Ganas. Beside Nishka of the Rig Vedic period, gold and silver coins like Satmana, Krishnala were used as media of exchange. Satmana and Krishnala. Social life, the four division of society, Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Sudras, or Varna system was thoroughly established during the later Vedic period. The two higher classes, Brahmin and Kshatriya, they enjoyed privilege that they were denied to the Vaishya and Shudra. A Brahmin occupied a higher position than a Kshatriya, but sometimes Kshatriyas claimed a higher status over Brahmins. Many subcastes on the basis of their occupation appeared in this period. In the family, the power of father increased during the later Vedic period. There was no improvement in the status of women. They were still considered inferior and subordinate to men. Women also lost their political rights of attending assemblies. Child marriages had become common. According to Atriya Brahmin, a daughter has been described as a source of misery. However, the women in the royal household enjoyed certain privileges. Religion. Gods of the early Vedic period like Indra, Agni lost their importance. Prajapati, the creator, Vishnu, the protector, and the Rudra, the destroyer, became prominent during later Vedic period. Sacrifices were still important, and the rituals connected with them became more elaborate. The importance of prayers declined, and that of sacrifices increased. Priesthood became a profession and a hereditary one. The formula for sacrifices were invented and elaborated by the priestly class. Therefore, towards the end of this period, there was a strong reaction against priestly domination and against sacrifices and rituals. The rise of Buddhism and Jainism and was the direct result of these elaborate sacrifices. Also, the authors of Upanishads, which is the essence of Hindu philosophy, turned away from the useless rituals and insisted on true knowledge, Janan, for peace and salvation. This was all about chapter number 3. I hope you have enjoyed the chapter. This was Vedic culture. The Vedic culture was chapter number 3. So we have done chapter number 1, chapter number 2, and chapter number 3. If you haven't watched the earlier videos and you have come up with chapter number 3, you can go and watch the video from the screen. You can see these are my playlists for spoken English and for reading practice. Tamil Nadu board history book is going on right now. When I will complete this, then I will start other NCERT books so that you can enjoy reading, you can enjoy listening practice. And if you have this book, then keep it with yourself whenever you are watching this video. Just revise it, re-revise it, re-revise it. Jitni baar padho NCERT, utni baar kam pad jayegi. But you have to do it, all right? Because without hard work, you're not going to get success. So you have to do it with smart work. All right, students, we are going to meet soon in the next video. Till then, bye-bye, take care, have a nice day.